Oh, there you are, little one. Come in. The fire crackles. The storm rumbles outside. And in the grim darkness of the far future, there is always time for a story. And here I am. Your grandpa Grimdarius has already turned the first page. Now, little one, before we begin our tale, you must understand something. The Skaven are many countless swarms scurrying beneath the world, scheming, fighting, gnawing at the edges of civilization. But among them, there are 4 who stand above the rest, 4 great clans, each a pillar of power within the Under-Empire, each with its own wicked craft. Clan Scryer, the deranged warlock engineers fusing sorcery with machinery, crafting weapons of devastation beyond mortal comprehension. Clan Pestilence, the devoted harbingers of disease, where filth is sacred and plague is the purest form of power. Clan Eshin, the silent assassins, striking from the darkness, ensuring no enemy, even among their own kin, ever sleep soundly. And then there is Clan Moulder, twisted flesh crafters, the makers of living nightmares, shaping muscle and bone as a blacksmith shapes steel. They do not forge swords or raise armies like other Skaven. No. They breed terror. They sculpt monstrosities. They twist life itself into new and unnatural horrors. In the dark tunnels of Hell Pit, flesh is not sacred, nor is it a limit. It is merely raw material waiting to be broken and reshaped. These 4 clans hold the fate of the Under-Empire in their claws. Their power shapes war, corruption, and death. And now, little one, we speak of one of them. The most gruesome, the most grotesque. The ones who do not merely kill, but create horrors that never should have been. Listen well, for our tale begins in the frozen depths of the world, where the beasts of Clan Moulder are born. Clan Moulder. Among the many horrors that lurk in the dark depths of the Skaven Under-Empire, few tales are more gruesome than those that speak of their creations and how they come to life. Listen well, little one, for this is a story that few dare to tell, and even fewer have the courage to hear until the end. Clan Moulder is not like the other clans. Oh, no. They are not merely cowardly assassins or hissing spellcasters. Their power does not lie in poisoned blades or forbidden sorcery. Their power lies in flesh, in mutation, in the creation of living nightmares, things that should not exist. And yet they walk, they breathe, they devour. Their lair, the dreaded Hell Pit, lies in the frozen lands of the north, far from the eyes of those who still wish to sleep soundly. There, hidden in the heart of ice and rock, Clan Moulder has carved out its kingdom of terror, a labyrinth of tunnels, pits, and foul laboratories where flesh is shaped like clay in a potter's hands, where blood never ceases to flow, and where the sound of whips echoes day and night. Their masters, the infamous Master Moulders, are artisans of a very different kind than those of men. Oh, they do not build houses or bridges, they do not carve statues, nor do they paint portraits. They shape flesh, bone, and muscle. They take a rat, bloat it with the twisted power of warpstone, and turn it into a monster with too many eyes and too many fangs. They take a vermin, break it, rebuild it, stitch it together with silver thread, and reinforced tendons. And thus, a new abomination is born. And yet, as revolting as it may seem, this clan is one of the most powerful in the entire Under-Empire. Their influence extends far beyond the rotting walls of Hell Pit. Every Skaven warlord knows that if he wants an army capable of sowing terror, he must turn to the Moulders. And so their horrors are sold to the highest bidder, brought into battle with steel chains and spiked collars, ready to be unleashed upon the enemy with blind, insatiable fury. But there is more, because the other clans do not trust the Moulders. No. They fear them. They fear them because they do not fully understand what happens in the depths of their domain, because whispers spread, rumors of new experiments, of creatures never seen before, of monsters so large and ferocious that even the Skaven themselves dare not release them from their cages. It is said that Clan Moulder is plotting something greater, more terrifying than anything they have ever done before. But what? No one knows for certain. All that is known is that from time to time, new aberrations emerge from Hell Pit. Enormous, unstoppable, unnatural. And each time, the other Skaven huddle in their damp tunnels, whisper prayers to the horned rat, and wonder how much time remains before the horror is unleashed upon them. But we will speak more of this later. For now, keep these words close, little one, because the stories of Clan Moulder are not just tales, they are warnings. Little one, if merely thinking about Clan Moulder has already made you shudder, know that their history is even darker than the creatures that crawl out of Hell Pit. And like all ancient stories, it has a beginning stained with blood, madness, and ambition. Long ago, before the Skaven had dug their deepest burrows, before the cities of men trembled at the sound of their steps, there was but one rat who dared to see flesh not as a limit, but as a canvas upon which to paint. His name was Malkrit, and no one knows where he came from. Some say he was a disgraced gray seer. Others whisper that he was born already corrupted, with warpstone pulsing through his veins instead of blood. Malkrit was not a warrior, not an assassin. No. He was something far worse. He was a visionary. He saw only weakness in his kin, fragility. Too small, too weak, too easy to crush beneath the heels of men and orcs. So he withdrew to the most remote places, dug into the ice, found the dark caves where none dared to enter, and there, among the shadows, he began his work. It was he who built Hell Pit, a fortress city of flesh and metal, a place where death and life blur together, where pain is nothing more than a passage to something greater. It was he who uncovered the secrets of mutation, who understood that flesh can be molded like clay if one possesses the right knowledge and the right amount of warpstone. Warpstone, those greenish crystals, pulsating with chaotic energy, the greatest and most cursed gift of the horned rat. With it, Malkrit did not simply forge weapons or enhance spells like other Skaven. No. He used it on himself. He let it fuse with his flesh, seep into his bones, transforming him into something more than a mere Skaven. And as his skin tore and stitched itself back together, as his body twisted and changed, his followers watched with reverence. And so, Clan Moulder was born. Over time, Malkrit's followers learned his secrets. They became the first Master Moulders, rat scientists and executioners, surgeons of madness who saw in their kin not brothers, but raw material for new experiments. But their ambition did not stop at their own bodies. Oh, no, no. Soon they began capturing every creature they could find, rats, wolves, trolls, even men. They dismantled them piece by piece, rebuilt them with new limbs, new organs, new abilities. And when these creatures stood for the first time, confused, suffering, enraged, then the Master Moulders knew they had succeeded. The power of Clan Moulder grew unstoppable. They became the terror of the Skaven Under Empire, the name no clan dared to speak without trembling. At the Council of 13, the Lords of Decay realized that these madmen were more useful as allies than as enemies, and so they granted them a place among the great clans, an honor that made Malkrit laugh. Honor? Respect? The Skaven respect nothing, only power. And Clan Moulder had the power to create life and destroy it with a single gesture. Malkrit did not live long enough to see the ultimate fruits of his madness. One day, he vanished, swallowed by the depths of Hell Pit. Some say he became something more than a Skaven, a creature that now lurks in the most secret laboratories of the clan, never seen, never named. Others believe he was killed by his own disciples, who divided his knowledge and power among themselves. But one thing is certain, the Master Moulders of today are no longer mere Skaven. Too long have they been steeped in warpstone, too many times have they reshaped their own forms to remain what they once were. Some have extra limbs, others eyes that never stop watching, others still skin that shifts like water, adapting to every situation. They are the ones who now lead the clan, pushing ever further the limits of flesh and horror. And while other Skaven fight over territories and resources, while they stab each other in the back in the dark tunnels, Clan Moulder works, in silence, in the shadows. They create new monsters, new abominations, because their dream is not yet over. And one day, little one, when the other Skaven finally understand, it will be too late. Ah, little one, have you ever heard the sound of flesh stretching and tearing? Have you ever listened to the strangled gasp of something that should not exist, yet still breathes, moves, fights to live? If you have never heard it, be grateful to fate, because in the depths of Clan Moulder, that sound is more common than a heartbeat, more incessant than breathing itself. There, in the bowels of Hell Pit, flesh is not a limit. It is an opportunity. The Master Moulders are not warriors, nor are they scientists like those of Clan Scryer, who bend metal and magic to create machines of death. No, the Moulders do not settle for cold steel. To them, true power lies in blood, muscle, and bone. They do not build machines, they build creatures. Where the warlock engineers of Clan Scryer implant gears and tubes, the Moulders graft new limbs, new eyes, new ravenous jaws. Where the Scryer seek to control chaos through engineering, the Moulders embrace it, let it flow, shape it with hands stained in flesh and warpstone. Their experiments know no bounds. Giant rats, as large as warhounds, infest the tunnels of the underworld, their limbs bristling with claws, their teeth long as daggers. Some have 2 heads, others are covered in thick bone plates, and still others have tails lined with venomous spines. But these, little one, these are merely the lowest tier of horror, because the deeper one ventures into Hell Pit, the more unnatural things become. The Rat Ogres, for instance. These creatures are the pride of Clan Moulder. Larger than a man, stronger than a troll, they are the blasphemous fusion of ogre blood and the warped bodies of the Skaven. Towering, violent, always hungry. Many of them bear the marks of the Moulder's most ambitious experiments. Thick scars, plates of molten metal fused into their skulls, extra arms that move in unnatural ways. Some even have weapons fused into their flesh, serrated claws or jagged blades where once there were paws. And then, little one, there are the darkest aberrations. Those even the Skaven dare not name. Has anyone ever told you of the Hell Pit Abominations? Better that they haven't. Better that you do not know that there exist creatures as large as towers, made of ever-shifting flesh, with mouths opening on every surface, arms growing and dissolving in a ceaseless whirlwind of mutation. Better that you do not know that no one, not even Clan Moulder itself, has full control over these monsters. They live, even when they should be dead. But, as terrible as these creatures may be, their purpose is clear. Clan Moulder does not create for the mere pleasure of creation, no. They create to sell, because every Skaven, sooner or later, needs a weapon that cannot be stopped. And when a warlord seeks to spread terror among his enemies, when he wishes to see entire armies crumble before even being touched by a warrior's blade, then he travels to Hell Pit, and he pays. He pays in warp tokens, in slaves, in anything he possesses. Moulder beasts are not mere war beasts. They are investments. A brood of giant rats can be unleashed to ravage enemy ranks. A rat ogre can slaughter an entire platoon of Imperial soldiers on its own, and the storm fiends, those creatures, born from the fusion of Clan Moulder's madness and Clan Scryer's perversion, are living weapons. True war machines made of flesh and machinery, with warpstone weaponry embedded into their very bones. But here lies the danger, little one. Never trust a weapon that thinks, because no matter how much Clan Moulder claims that its creations are loyal, no matter how much they assure that every monster has a fail-safe preventing it from rebelling, well, the truth is that flesh has a will of its own. And when a giant rat looks at its master, when a rat ogre hears the call of battle, who can truly say to whom it will listen? So remember this, little one. If you ever see one of these creatures, do not run, do not scream, do not let it notice you, and pray to the horned rat that it is not hungry, but do not fear. This story does not end here. Later, I will tell you about all the other beasts born in the depths of Hell Pit. I will speak of wolf rats and brood horrors, and of the most abominable creations ever conceived by Clan Moulder. The Council of 13. It is there that the fate of the Skaven is decided, where betrayals are whispered and plots are woven more intricately than the tunnels beneath the cities of men. But among those 13 seats, among the hissing masters of the Under-Empire, there is one clan that does not need words to assert itself. A clan that does not rely on power games and backstabbing, at least not in the same way as the others, because Clan Moulder does not need poison or intrigue. They speak through flesh. The Lords of Decay, the mighty Skaven who sit on the council, are creatures of greed, paranoia, ever ready to stab each other in the back for a shred of power. Each of them has armies, guilds, hordes of assassins loyal to them, but none have anything like what Clan Moulder can offer. An army of monsters. Ah, little one, if only you could see the negotiations that take place in the dark corridors of Hell Pit. Oh, these are not mere exchanges of money or territory. No, the transactions between Clan Moulder and the Council are driven by hunger, fear, and power. The Moulders know that their merchandise is not just a weapon, but a strategic advantage. When a Skaven warlord seeks to annihilate his rivals, he does not settle for mere warriors. No. He wants a horde of giant rats. He wants a tide of Rat Ogres to crush the enemy. He wants a Hell Pit Abomination to tear through enemy lines like an anvil hurled against fragile glass. And the price? Oh, the price is never just warp tokens. Clan Moulder is cunning. They know that true value lies in dependency. Their clients become slaves to their creations. A Lord of Decay may purchase 10, 100, 1,000 war beasts, but what if those beasts were to turn against him one day? Ah, better to keep buying. Better to keep buying security. But, little one, here is where things get interesting, because the Council of 13 is made up of devious and corrupt minds, and they know well that no clan should ever become too powerful. And Clan Moulder, well, they are powerful. Too powerful. The other clans whisper, exchange furtive glances, and wonder what would happen if one day Clan Moulder decided not to sell anymore, but to take. Because those who control the beasts control the battlefield, and perhaps one day, the council itself. That is why the Grey Seers watch Clan Moulder with suspicion, because as useful as their creations are, they are also dangerous. No one knows how many horrors lurk in the depths of Hell Pit. No one knows what new abominations are emerging at this very moment. It is said that even some Lords of Decay possess Moulder creations never seen before, personal monsters chained in their strongholds, ready to be unleashed upon any who dare challenge them. But here is the question that everyone dreads asking. What if Clan Moulder has a secret weapon? What if they have already created the ultimate beast, a creature that not even the Council could control? Some believe this is why Clan Moulder continues to sell its monsters to everyone without preferences, without lasting alliances, because they are waiting for the right moment to unleash the horror. And then, little one, the Council of 13 will no longer have 13 members. It will only have those strong enough to survive. But that is a story for another night. Ah, little one, did you think that Clan Moulder was only flesh and bone, only whips and scalpels? Oh, no. Their craft is not just blood and stitching, not merely the cuts and sutures that turn a rat into a monster. There is something darker that stirs in the depths of Hell Pit, something that pulses, that writhes, that whispers within the greenish crystals embedded in the walls of living flesh. Yes, little one, there is magic within Clan Moulder. Oh, not the magic the Grey Seers use, no. Not the magic of the horned rat, the one that slithers through the incense smoke and the whispered words in the dark. No, the magic of Clan Moulder is different. It is more visceral, more cruel, more primal. It is magic that warps, that mutates, that shatters the boundary between what is possible and what should not exist. Have you ever heard of the harbingers of mutation? Few have seen them, and even fewer speak of them openly. They are rats like the others, and yet not like the others. They do not wear the ceremonial robes of the gray seers. They do not bow before the green flames of the horned rat. No, they walk among the cages of Hell Pit, among the cells where giant rats twist in their endless hunger, among the chambers where rat ogres convulse as new limbs sprout from their backs. The harbingers do not invoke power through prayer. They impose it upon living flesh. You see, little one, Clan Moulder has always worked with warpstone, that cursed crystal that pulses with chaotic energy. It is warpstone that makes their aberrations possible. It is warpstone that allows a simple rat to grow to the size of a horse, that makes an extra arm sprout where there should be none, that transforms a mere Skaven into something horrific yet powerful. And the harbingers, they control this process. They do not merely observe change, they accelerate it, they guide it, they dominate it. With a simple gesture, they can make an entire column of bone grow from a creature's back. They can mutate a giant rat until it bursts into a cloud of putrid flesh. They can reshape a rat ogre into a new form, bigger, stronger, deadlier. And for this little one, the gray seers hate them. Oh yes, yes. The Council of 13 tolerates Clan Moulder because of their beasts, because of their usefulness in war. But the Grey Seers, they do not tolerate competition. For only they should be the true wielders of magic, only they should have the power to bend warpstone to their will. And yet, Clan Moulder has found another way, a way without prayers, without whispers to the horned rat, a way that is built on hunger, on pain, on transformation. Some say that certain harbingers have lost their original forms, that they have become mutants themselves, an amalgamation of limbs and muscle that never stops growing, that never stops changing. Some say that some of them no longer speak, that they communicate only in shrieking cries and madness-filled gazes. But as long as their hands can still shape flesh, as long as their power can still bring forth new abominations, Clan Moulder will protect them. And if one day the harbingers were to surpass even the Grey Seers? Little one, that is the thought that keeps the masters of the Under-Empire awake at night. Because if Clan Moulder were to create the perfect monster, a creature so powerful that it could not be stopped, neither by the Grey Seers nor by the other clans, then, little one, who could ever stand against their rule? Little one, the wars of the Skaven are not fought with noble knights and orderly ranks of soldiers. No, no. You will find no heroes among the rats of the Under-Empire. You will find only hunger, fear, and survival. And yet, when the Skaven legions march through the depths of the world, when their hordes pour forth like an unstoppable tide, there is one sound that all fear above any other. It is not the clash of blades, nor the hiss of warpstone-laced crossbows. It is the growl, it is the roar, it is the sound of something that should not exist, and yet is about to be unleashed. Because Clan Moulder does not fight like the others. They do not send out ranks of cowardly warriors, ready to stab each other at the first opportunity. No, no. They send forth nightmares. When an army of Clan Moulder prepares for battle, the very ground trembles beneath the weight of its aberrations. Giant rats, rat ogres, nameless abominations, each creature is a living war machine, a weapon born from pain and mutation, and above them, among the stench of cages and the rattling of breaking chains, stand the true masters of this horror, the Packmasters. Ah, the Packmasters, little one, are the heart and scourge of Moulder's armies. They do not fight like other Skaven, no. They are not mere fodder. They are tamers, wardens, executioners of the beasts that bring destruction to enemy ranks. With their whips as sharp as blades, with their prodding sticks dipped in venom, they drive the creatures forward, guiding them with shrieking commands and well-placed lashes. And the beasts obey, out of fear, out of rage, because they know that disobedience means death. The Packmasters are not simple soldiers. They are survivors. Every day in the depths of Hell Pit is a battle against death. Every Packmaster has seen too many of his kin torn apart by the very creatures they were meant to control. Only the most ruthless, the fastest, the most sadistic survive. They cannot afford to feel fear. And so when Clan Moulder goes to war, it is they who walk among the monsters, lashing, prodding, screaming orders at things that should not even exist. But, little one, do not think that Clan Moulder sends only monsters into battle. Oh, no. There is also the infantry, those wretched Skaven forced to fight alongside their own creations, not for valor, not for glory, but because someone has to be the first to die. The warriors of Clan Moulder are few, and for a simple reason. The Moulders do not see Skaven as effective instruments of war. No, they know that a mere rat is worthless against the fury of a troll, the might of an ogre, the brutality of a chaos knight. But a rat ogre? Ah, now that can obliterate an entire squad of enemies with a single swing. Thus, when Clan Moulder deploys its forces, the infantry is nothing more than bait, sacrifices, disposable tools. Small groups of Skaven warriors are sent forward only to draw attention, only to force the enemy to turn. And the moment they do, the beasts are unleashed. And then, little one, the battle is over in a single, terrible instant. Because no armor, no sharpened sword can stop a horde of ravenous giant rats. No military formation can withstand the fury of a stampede of rat ogres. And no man can keep his courage when a Hell Pit Abomination charges at him, its 100 mouths gaping in an eternal scream of hunger. And so, Clan Moulder wins its wars, not with strategy, not with discipline, but with fear, with chaos, with pure, unrelenting terror. Ah, little one, have you ever seen a monster? No. Not the ones from fairy tales, not noble dragons or legendary beasts with hearts of gold. I speak of true monsters, creatures made of flesh and terror, born not to exist, but to kill, born of pain, madness, and warpstone. And if you ever find yourself walking the depths of Hell Pit, if your steps ever take you where none should go, then, little one, you will see with your own eyes the true face of horror. You will see the creations of Clan Moulder. Giant rats are the first, the most common, the most insignificant of the aberrations. Yet, do not be deceived. They are not simply oversized rodents. Oh, no. Every giant rat is a carefully molded creature, bred, fed, and mutated to be larger, fiercer, deadlier. Some have skin as thick as a knight's armor, others have fangs as long as daggers, and some should not even be able to walk, with too many eyes, too many mouths, too many limbs moving in all the wrong directions. But they do move, little one, they move, they bite, they devour everything in their path. And behind them, always ready to drive them forward, stand the Packmasters with their whips and barbed prods, ever eager to remind the beasts who their masters are, at least until the beast itself decides otherwise. But giant rats are not enough. They are not terrifying enough. And so, Clan Moulder decided to push further, to merge the flesh of two different creatures, to create something new. Thus, the wolf rats were born. Imagine, little one, a starving wolf, one of those that stalk the forests of men, its breath hot, its jaws wide, its yellow eyes brimming with hunger. Now imagine fusing it with a rat, twisting their forms together under the power of warpstone. What do you get? You get something that should not exist. Wolf rats skulk and run faster than a mere giant rat. They hunt in packs. They think like wolves. But they have the cunning of the Skaven. They do not attack randomly, no. They wait, they set traps, they calculate, and when they strike, they do so in silence. The first thing you feel is the cold at your feet, then the hot breath on your skin, then nothing. But Clan Moulder is never satisfied, little one. No, they always want more, and so they created the brood horrors. Imagine a giant rat. Now make it grow, make it swell, make it enormous, misshapen, uncontrollable. Now give it a heart that beats too fast, too hard, muscles that never stop growing, a hunger that can never be sated. This is a brood horror. They are born in the cages of Hell Pit and remain there until they have destroyed all their siblings. Only the strongest, the cruelest, the most insane survive. And when they are released onto the battlefield, they do not fight. They devastate. Then there are the great pox rats. Ah, little one, these are worse than the brood horrors, because they do not just kill, they spread plague. Wherever they go, they leave behind a trail of death, of rotting flesh, of bones melting like wax. It is not enough to run from them. Even if you survive, even if you escape their claws and their fangs, the poison will already be inside you. Now, little one, it is time to speak of the true monsters, the Rat Ogres. Larger than a man, stronger than a troll, hungrier than any other creature in existence. Rat Ogres are the living terror of Clan Moulder. Their flesh is a mass of unnaturally swollen muscle, bloated by warpstone as if they were waves ready to crush everything in their path. They are always hungry, little one, always. They do not know satiety. They do not know rest. They only want to eat. But a normal rat ogre, well, it is never enough for Clan Moulder. Oh, no. There is always something to add, something to enhance, something to mutate beyond all limits. Some are reinforced with steel plates fused directly into their flesh, becoming armored rat ogres, living battering rams stronger than any human armor, more resilient than any enemy horde. Others are mutated even further, with additional arms sprouting from their backs, with sharpened blades instead of hands, with deformed eyes that see only pain and rage. They are no longer mere beasts. They are living weapons. And then there are the worst, little one, the augmented rat ogres. Half flesh, half machine. no longer just mutations, but horrors fused with Clan Scryer's technology. Warpstone cannons embedded into their bones, claws crackling with energy, metal plates melded into their skin like a second armor. They do not think. They do not feel pain. They do not stop. Ah, little one, if you thought augmented rat ogres were the pinnacle of horror, then you have not yet heard of the storm fiends. These are no longer beasts. They are no longer even Skaven. They are living war machines, the maddest result of Clan Moulder and Clan Scryer's combined insanity. Flesh and metal fused into a grotesque symbiosis, mutation, and engineering, feeding off each other in a vortex of madness and destruction. Imagine a creature larger than an ogre, a mountain of muscle and steel plates, a colossus implanted with weapons it should not even comprehend. Their bones are reinforced with warpstone, their nerves connected to metallic implants, their eyes no longer see anything natural, only commands, targets, flesh to rend. And then there are their weapons, because storm fiends do not fight like other Skaven. No, they do not wield swords or maces, they do not carry crossbows or pistols. They are the weapons. Some have warpstone-laced cannons embedded directly into their chests, weapons that spew radioactive volleys with devastating fury, enough to shred an entire company before they can raise their shields. Their ribs open like hungry mouths, and from those gaps burst green energy blasts that incinerate flesh and metal alike. Others wield lightning claws, metallic gauntlets crackling with raw energy, unleashing deadly arcs of electricity with each strike. Those struck do not die instantly. They burn from the inside, their flesh convulsing, their eyes bursting in their sockets as the warpstone siphons every last fragment of life. Some are equipped with poison lances, wrist-mounted devices that launch globes of toxic gas, a venom that seeps into the lungs like a curse, twisting victims into wheezing, deformed husks before they even realize what has struck them. And then there are the burrowing storm fiends, with warpstone drills in place of hands, capable of sinking into the earth as if it were butter, emerging behind enemy lines in a massacre from which there is no escape. Once deployed in battle, they advance and advance until there is nothing left to destroy. They do not fear, they do not hesitate, they do not feel pain, because they are not alive in the normal sense. They are weapons, pure and simple, and when Clan Moulder unleashes them, the world trembles, because you do not kill a storm fiend. You only hope it runs out of ammunition before it finds you. And then there is the final nightmare, the Hell Pit Abomination. It was never meant to exist. It was never meant to be born. But Clan Moulder decided that horror has no limits. Imagine a writhing mass of ever-mutating flesh, a shape that defies all laws of nature. It has no definite form. It writhes, it regenerates, it expands and contracts without logic. Too many limbs, too many mouths, too many eyes. Sometimes it seems like a conglomeration of fused bodies. Other times, a single pulsating amorphous mass. But whatever its form, it has one purpose: to destroy. And it does not die, little one. It cannot die. There are stories of abominations pierced by 100 spears, crushed beneath steel gates, burned in warpstone fire. And yet they continue to fight. Their flesh stitches itself back together. Their pain is their strength. They are Clan Moulder's ultimate deranged mistake and their greatest success. It is said that in the depths of Hell Pit, the Master Moulders sought to create the ultimate weapon, a creature that would embody chaos itself. They combined warpstone, mutated flesh, and unparalleled cruelty to give life to these abominations. But once created, they lost control over them. Now, these creatures wander aimlessly, destroying everything in their path, incapable of distinguishing friend from foe. Legends speak of entire armies annihilated by a single Hell Pit Abomination. Soldiers tell of comrades swallowed whole, limbs torn apart with terrifying ease, and screams smothered by the creature's countless mouths. Conventional weapons seem useless against it, for every wound inflicted seals shut within moments. And yet, despite their uncontrollable fury, Clan Moulder continues to create them, perhaps to prove their power, perhaps out of sheer madness. But one thing is certain, as long as these abominations exist, the world will live in terror of the next devastation they will bring. Ah, little one, you have seen the beasts, heard their roars, imagined the devastation they bring with them. But who creates them? Who commands these horrors? Who decides which flesh shall live and which shall be reforged? Every monster has a master, and in Clan Moulder, the master is never merciful. There are those who command legions of warriors. And then there are the Master Mutators, who command legions of Aberrations. The Master Mutators are not mere Skaven. They are something more, or something less. No one knows how old they truly are, nor how many bodies have passed through their hands. They have seen more flesh split open than faces, more bones broken than enemies. And with every experiment, every mutilation, every vial of warpstone poured upon a convulsing organism, they have perfected their craft. They are the commanders of the mutant hordes, the ones who decide which creatures will be unleashed in battle, which will be enhanced, and which will be torn apart and started over from scratch. If you ever meet one, little one, do not expect to recognize it as a normal Skaven. Too many limbs, too many eyes, too many marks left by their own madness. Some have bony spines jutting from their backs, others bear claws that were never there at birth, and some shift in form every time you look at them. But they all have one thing in common: absolute power over living flesh. But before mutation, there must be creation. The Master Moulders are the artisans of the clan, sculptors of flesh and terror. They do not settle for what nature has given. They remake it. They do not accept limits. They break them. They have learned to shape flesh as a blacksmith shapes iron, to fuse bone as a craftsman fuses metal, to create monsters as a painter creates a masterpiece. And they do not do it for vanity. They do it for the clan. Without them, Hell Pit would be nothing more than a dark cavern filled with rats. But with them, it is a forge of nightmares. What sets them apart from the mutators is their surgical precision. They know where to cut, where to graft, where to force change without the creature collapsing under its own mutation. They are the ones who roam between the cages, between the genetically altered broods of rats, observing their creations with a critical eye. If one is not strong enough, it is not discarded. It is repurposed, because in Clan Moulder, nothing is wasted. And finally, little one, there are those who do not simply manipulate flesh, but command it through sheer will, the harbingers of mutation. They are not scientists nor surgeons. They are flesh-warping sorcerers, seers of mutation, masters of organic chaos. Where the Master Moulders use scalpels and blades, the Harbingers use the raw energy of warpstone. With a mere touch, flesh melts and reforms into something new. With just a whisper, a horde of giant rats swells unnaturally, warps, deforms, becomes a living weapon. The Grey Seers hate them. They cannot stand the thought of Skaven who can manipulate mutation without kneeling before the horned rat. But they cannot eliminate them, because Clan Moulder needs them. And as long as the Harbingers continue to create, as long as their voices continue to shape flesh with their twisted magic, no one will be able to stop them. Little one, every story has its monsters, and every monster has its creator. But in Clan Moulder, where flesh is broken and rebuilt like clay, there are names that echo louder than others, names that carry the weight of horror, cruelty, and the perverse genius that only the Skaven can conceive. And among them all, one stands above the rest: Throt the Unclean. Throt is not just a master mutator, he is the master mutator. No one knows how old he truly is. Some say he has lived far longer than any Skaven should ever hope to. Too much time spent handling warpstone, breathing in its fumes, letting it flow through his blood and flesh. His body bears the marks of his own madness. A hunched back sprouting bony protrusions, an extra arm growing from his shoulder, eyes that should not be there yet observe everything with insatiable hunger. There is no aberration that has emerged from Hell Pit that has not in some way felt his influence. He has created, he has mutated, he has pushed beyond the limits of flesh. Where others saw a rat, he saw a weapon. Where others saw a failure, he saw an opportunity. And when the world trembled before his creations, he laughed. But Throt is not just a creator, he is also a warrior. He does not fight like other Skaven, he does not hide in the shadows. He charges, he tears, he devours. His very body is an experiment, a living weapon, a perfect fusion of mutation and brutality. And when he moves, the air itself seems to grow heavier. Yet, for all his fearsome reputation, he is not alone. There is a name whispered in the tunnels of Clan Moulder, a name spoken with respect, almost with fear, by the Packmasters, Squeal Gnawtooth. Packmasters are cruel beings. They must be. Living among the beasts means being more vicious than the beasts themselves. But Squeal, he was not just ruthless, he understood the creatures. Where others saw nothing but masses of muscle and fangs ready to turn on their masters, he saw perfect instruments, war machines that could be controlled with surgical precision. He did not whip just for punishment. He did not use violence merely for dominance. He listened. He knew when to strike, when to hold back, when to push a creature beyond its limits without breaking it. He was not just a beast tamer, he was a commander. It is said that his beasts did not need chains. They fought for him, not because they were forced to, but because they knew that with him they would have flesh, blood, and victory. It is said that even the Hell Pit Abominations, creatures that should know neither master nor law, would lower their heads when Squeal spoke. But in Clan Moulder, little one, it is not enough to create. One must also destroy. And so we come to an even more terrifying story, A story that proves Clan Moulder does not merely toy with rats and beasts, but dares to lay its hands upon creatures that should never be touched. The story of Gorich. Gorich was not a Skaven. No. He was a man. Or at least, he once was. He had once been a warrior of the North, a fierce berserker who fought under the banners of the Chaos Lords. Blood, war, and glory were all he knew. But his rage carried him too far. He disobeyed an order, led his men into a battle he should never have fought, and he lost. The Chaos Lords do not forgive. They tore him from his armor, chained him, and cast him into the tunnels of Clan Moulder. And there, the real battle began. Throt saw an opportunity. A warrior of such power, such fury, but with a body that was weak, limited, human, too fragile. So he took his mind, his essence, and transplanted it into a new body. A body of mutated flesh, a body designed for destruction. Gorich was no longer a man. He was no longer anything. But when he rose for the first time, when he felt power surging through his new muscles, when he discovered that he could annihilate a man with a single strike, his rage did not fade. It grew. Now, little one, imagine a berserker with the fury of a dark god, but with the strength of a rat ogre. Imagine a creature with the mind of a warrior and the body of a monster. This was Throt's greatest creation, and when Gorich was unleashed, the world bled. These are the legends of Clan Moulder, little one. Not kings, not heroes, only monsters and their creators. Ah, little one, every story must have an end, or at least it should. But for Clan Moulder, the end does not exist. No. There is only the next experiment, the next monster, the next mutation. As long as there is flesh to break, as long as there is warpstone to inject into veins, Clan Moulder will continue. Deeper and deeper, further and further, always beyond what is natural. Their creations never stop. You have seen rats larger than a man. You have seen ogres clad in steel and abominations that cannot die. But little one, do you truly believe they will stop here? No. Clan Moulder is never satisfied. It never has been. Every experiment is just a step toward the next. Every mutation is merely a foundation to surpass. They do not seek perfection. They seek what comes next. And the other clans? Oh, they are afraid. Whispers spread through the Under-Empire. The voices travel even through the darkest tunnels. The Skaven speak of new beasts never seen before, of creatures that do not even have names. They say that in the depths of Hell Pit, something different lurks, something waiting. Some believe that Clan Moulder is trying to create the perfect being, a monster that does not need Packmasters, that does not need orders, a weapon without limits. Others say that Throt the Unclean is no longer satisfied with Skaven flesh, that he is seeking something else, something bigger, something stronger, something deadlier. And then there are those who swear they have heard whispers, whispers that do not belong to the Skaven, voices that stir in the shadows, in the heart of Hell Pit, voices that have never been human, nor mutant, nor anything this world has ever known. What lurks in the depths of the Hell Pit? Perhaps even the Master Mutators no longer know. Perhaps even they no longer control what they have created. But of one thing you can be certain, little one, Clan Moulder will not stop. Not until the horror is complete. Not until the entire world is one endless, abominable mutation. Oh, little one, our tale comes to an end, for now. The fire burns low, the storm still rages beyond these walls, but somewhere out there, in the grim darkness of the far future, stories do not rest. And soon, very soon, your Grandpa Grimdarius will be here once more with my dusty tomes and ancient codex in hand, waiting for you, always ready to share the next tale. Farewell, little one.